Welcome back to another episode of Testimony Tuesday. It is I, Miguel Rangel. It is an honor to be here with you guys again. Staying consistent has been very hard, but it's proven to not only benefit me, believe it or not, I've been getting very benefited by all of these episodes as much as you guys. And today I have the honor for the third time to have none other than my most loving, amazing, caring, beautiful bride that the Lord has placed in my life.
You forgot funny.
Oh, my God. Funny. No.
Yeah, this is the third time, so I don't think I have to reintroduce myself.
No. But
hmm
just wanted to let you know I love you.
Thanks. I love you too.
And what better way to say I love you than this month?
Yeah.
It's February.
Love month.
The love month. And even though last week we didn't have a Valentine's episode, this week is not really a Valentine's episode, but it is an episode about love.
Mm-hmm.
What is love? What is love? So, what better person to have than my own wife, right? So, let's get to it. And we just want to share what love has been for us. Doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. It doesn't mean it has worked for everybody. But I want to be able to help if you've been married, if you just recently got married, or if you're dating and you're planning to get married, or even if you just started dating.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that this helps you understand what love truly is.
Well, we don't know we're not perfect,
Correct.
but we do get a lot of compliments, thank God that we are such a great couple and this or that. So I have no idea, full disclosure, what he's going to ask me. So this is completely raw and
Unedited.
unedited.
We love doing, for those of you that don't know, by the way, we only do one take of all our episodes. There is no cutting, there is no breaks.
Mm-hmm.
We just go for it because I truly believe that the more genuine you can be,
Mm-hmm.
the better content I can get. So, yeah, I'm kind of throwing you under the bus here.
Yeah, I'm really nervous.
Love it. So, we're going to talk about love. What is love? And I say that because I want to go ahead and get your point of view
Mm-hmm.
of what love was during our dating stage,
Mm-hmm.
what love became at the beginning of our marriage, and how love has evolved to where it's at now.
Okay.
So, let's talk about dating.
Dating. Oh,
And
man.
I think that was one of the hardest times for love.
Yeah.
But go for it.
Okay. So for us, man, well, we started dating when I was really young. So obviously there's a lot of immaturity. And there's a lot of distrust. Is that the word? Like
Okay.
don't trust each other.
How young were you?
Well, I was 16 when I started dating you.
Mm.
And yeah, so still in high school, you're still like around all your little friends. You get voices from this person, voices from that person. But I obviously met you at church, so it's like a completely different arena, I guess you could say, because
Mhm.
the people from church are a little bit more wise. Not gonna say the best, but they have better advice than people like outside of church.
They tend to have better advice.
Yeah, sometimes.
Doesn't mean that they always have the best advice.
hmm
Not saying church people are bad. We're just saying from our experience,
hmm
sometimes we got good stuff. Sometimes we got stuff that made us really question things.
Yeah. So it's not like your typical, we were not like going out on dates, doing all that because we were our parents were, well, my parents were very strict. So obviously I had to have a chaperone or had to bring a cousin or a friend with me to go see you.
Believe it or not, my parents were pretty strict too. I just didn't listen. Mom and dad,
You were a rebel.
I'm so sorry. If my mama or my daddy are listening to this, I truly, genuinely love you.
Yeah. So dating for us, I think was, I guess you could say toxic. because I was very jealous. When we started dating, you were a musician, you were, speaking at churches. And so for me, like, you had a lot of attention, and I just was not comfortable with that, and I just didn't know how to express my
I
emotions.
was a very handsome man, wasn't
You were so cute.
I? So, toxicity, where does that lead you?
Um, what do you mean?
I mean, toxic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was very toxic. Like, I
So,
didn't.
where does that lead you in love?
Oh, well, down. Just, I mean, if you're like in the way that I was toxic, it was I was very jealous with you talking to any other girl, and so that led me into, like, I don't know, being angry, being um hurt over like small things, always being the cause of our arguments. Um, I don't know what you want from me.
No, 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 that's
Okay.
perfect. I want you. I just want to get your genuine point of view on this because yes, toxicity doesn't lead to the solution.
Mm-mm.
It normally leads to problems.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to say that because I want people to understand that it's okay to be jealous, but it's not okay to be overly
Well,
jealous.
and also I didn't like have great communication. Like, I didn't develop that until later on in our marriage. So I didn't know how to express that feeling to you.
Correct. Communication is key, by the way.
Mhm.
Communication is huge. Whether you like to hear it or whether you don't want to hear it or whatever it is you want to do. Communication is key.
Mhm.
And at first, we didn't know how to communicate because I didn't know how to communicate to her that I genuinely just had a lot of friends. Some of them were guys, some of them were girls, but they were just friends.
Yeah.
And she didn't know how to communicate with me that it would bother her the way some of these girls or the way our relationships were as
Yeah.
friends.
Mhm.
Because yes, a lot of times you get that best friend who happens to be a girl, and I'm not saying it's bad, but you guys can become more like brother and sister,
Yeah.
and that would hurt you.
And I saw, like, now looking back, like, I saw that there was respect. Like, you obviously respected me as your girlfriend, and you had a relationship with, your friend. But I, in that young, immature mindset, I didn't see it as, oh, like, they have a, like, very nice, beautiful relationship as friends. Like, I would see it as, like, oh, you want her, or she wants you.
Yeah,
And I was like, even though now I'm like, even y'all knew each other for years. Like, if something would have happened, it would have already happened.
yeah, yeah.
But I have to. In that moment, I was blinded. Like, I just
You
it
didn't see
went
that.
over my head.
Yeah, and now I'm not saying go have as many friends of the opposite sex as you want to.
Hmm.
It's not what I'm saying. What I am saying though is if we would have communicated that
Hmm.
from an early stage, things might have been differently.
Yeah.
But yes, our relationship started off very toxic, on and off.
Hmm.
I'm talking about we were that relationship that was always on breaks.
Yeah.
Dang. That sucks.
That's so immature. Like, not to think about it. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's horrible because now you can't really live your life. And the crazy thing is that if we really take it down a notch, we weren't even married. So technically, I didn't even have to
Hmm.
do what you wanted me to do, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, and we're there suffering because now I can't live my life
Hmm.
because I'm gonna create an argument on this side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it created a lot of toxicity.
Toxicity.
I'm British now,
No.
literally.
Okay. So
So
toxicity,
it created a lot of toxic stuff.
toxic energy.
Yes, in our relationship,
Yeah.
and by the grace of God, literally, by the grace of God,
Hmm.
we got married.
Yeah.
Because even leading up to our wedding day,
Mhm.
We had a lot of issues even right prior
Yeah.
to our wedding day.
And I mean I can say this too, like even our family would see that because I mean they advised against it too.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that like you said by the grace of God, we were together, we got married, and as we learned to communicate and as we learned to trust. I guess we'll go into that, but
Yeah.
things started to change.
Yes. So we get married,
Mhm.
and at that point a light switch.
Well, I was still very young, 18, right?
Yeah.
And so I did kind of get into like a mindset of like I'm a señora now.
Yeah. So let me come in real quick. So we got married because well, we got pregnant.
Yes.
And I say that because um during that time, you know, and it's going to get a little icky here, but during that time the church was quick to at least the church that you were attending during that time. They were quick to say you're no longer part of the choir, you're no longer part of the crew. Um Now we're gonna put you to the side because you're the biggest sinner in the whole entire universe that we know. Not literally, that's not what they said,
No.
but they pretty much dequalified you. Is that
Mhm.
even a word?
I don't know, but keep going.
And at that time, I had started attending Harvest City Church,
Mhm. Where you met Pastor Rennie.
where I met Pastor Rennie, who's mentioned a lot throughout these podcast
Yeah.
episodes. And when I approached Pastor Rennie, I felt guilty, and I said, "Hey, Pastor, I can't play no more." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because I got my girlfriend pregnant. I sinned, and I can't do this. I'm not gonna." Again, many people will have a different point of view, but this is what happened in my life. And Pastor Rennie looks at me in the eyes and said, "Miguel, you realize that the strongest thing you have is your worship." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Are you truly repenting from what you've done?" And with tears in my eyes, I said, "Yes." He said, "Then, Miguel, I was not the one who called you. So I can't be the one that tells you that you're no longer qualified." He said, "As a matter of fact, you will show us how you truly feel when you get on stage and you play the piano and you begin to worship." And I kid you not, that Sunday, while I'm playing and singing, God began to break me completely, just break everything away from me. And He started restoring me.
Mhm.
And Pastor Rennie, after that service, goes up to me and he says, "What you have, no man gave it to you. So don't ever let a man tell you that you can't be used by something God gave you."
Yeah.
And I'm sharing these two different point of views because we see that a lot. But anyways, we got married,
Yeah.
and at that point,
Yeah, so I guess you could say it was like a switch for me. Like I kind of had to self-evaluate and had to say, you know what? Like I have to be mature. Like I'm married now, I have a baby on the way. Things have to change. Like my mentality has to change. Like I can't I didn't want to feel like I was amargada.
mm,
How do you say that in English?
I don't know, I would say sour.
Yeah, so I didn't want to feel like I was always like moody or I was always toxic. I didn't want to feel that with you. Like I wanted to have we were starting a new family. Like I wanted to be happy.
Yeah,
And so that's when I feel like my communication started to get better with you. Like I would start to feel like I would start to share more of my feelings and emotions with you. And you kind of, which I appreciate, is like you were open to that. You were open to like listening to me and talking about it. Or if you didn't agree, you would tell me like when I'm wrong. And that's when it kind of started to shift for us.
trust.
Mm-hmm.
How was learning how to trust?
Very hard because I was very jealous. Like I was a very jealous person when we started dating. So I guess learning to trust, it starts with like the communication. Like I would tell you, hey, like this bothers me, or if this person does that, like, I would appreciate you telling me, or if somebody messages you, like keep me involved. Um, and you were very good about that. Like you were just a rock star.
And communication is very vital in every relationship because there were times where, as men, we can be naive. And women are very smart, by the way. And I had to learn how to accept my wife's comments. Uh, there were times where she would say, "Hey, you know, I trust you, but the way that this person touched your shoulder, not right. Hey, I love you, and the way this person approached you, I didn't really think that that was wise." So as a man, I had to learn how to keep a distance on how I approach women and vice versa, and how I would allow women to approach me.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of anything, but because I love my wife enough to respect her in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. She would start doing the same thing to where if a man wanted to talk to her, she would automatically call me. And same thing, like if a woman approached me, hey, here's my wife. And it was always, by the way, we never go out to minister to any place without each other.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I think that I need to say that loud and clear because I see a lot of pastors, leaders, evangelists, whatever you want to call it, travel the world by themselves without their spouse
And their
or their
kids,
children
yeah. Their
or
kids.
their children. And to me, that's a big no-no. To me, that's a big no-no. When the Lord says that you both have now became one, that He meant it. So where I go, she comes with me because it's no longer my calling, and I want to make that clear too. It is no longer just my ministry. It is our ministry.
Yeah.
It is now our calling. She backs me up in everything that I do. Look at us now.
Yeah.
You saw something in the podcast. You're backing me up. You've done 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And our children go everywhere with us. And I think that is very important as well, especially in a relationship that is trying to follow Christ. To be a good example, that everywhere we go together.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
trust was,
and and I want to say that, like, I understand, like, some people might say, well, we don't always want to be together, and we're not. Like, we have our times where he'll go, with some friends, or I'll go with some friends, but there's also that time where when we are out, we are communicating still. Hey, plans change. I'm going here, or hey, I will be out a little bit later than normal than I expected, or whatever. And that communication there is so important too, because if we're kind of like in the dark, or if we don't know where each other is, and it's not like a control thing at all. I don't feel like I'm controlled by you.
yeah,
I'm sure you don't either. It's just about, like you said, the respect
yeah,
and knowing where each other is in case of an
yeah.
emergency.
And be honest. Another thing that we do is, like for example, every now and then you go out with some of your coworkers from work because you guys have something to do. And if I feel like I don't want her to stay out too late, I'll just text her, hey, it's fine, go out, have fun, don't be home late.
Yeah.
It's simple. Rather than saying, oh, you got home late. No, no. You can avoid all that argument
Hmm.
by simply communicating.
Yeah. No assumption. Like, we don't have to assume
Yeah.
anything. Like, we know where each other is, and just out of respect, like, I respect him enough to let him know what I'm doing and what I'm planning.
Hmm.
And this is all like done ahead of time. Like, I'm not texting you the same day, hey, I'm going out today, or
Yes.
I'm doing this today. Like, I always try to plan it, and I always try to make sure that the kids are taken care of, and just making sure that everything is planned out accordingly so that you're not kind of like curveball
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's very important. Communication. Also, we had to learn how to not read our text messages. This one's good.
Oh, yeah.
This one is really good. I'm telling you, this one's going to help you for the rest of your life. We had to learn how to not read each other's text messages the way we wanted to read them, but read it the way you know that they are trying to say it. Very vital. Because a simple text message that says, I hope the house is clean, right?
Hmm.
Because,
So the way you said it, how would you like type that?
okay, so that's a good,
Let's
right?
say.
Right? So in my case, I'm very sarcastic. I'm a very sarcastic person. I love sarcasm, jokes, everything, right? So I would probably say, hey, I hope the house is clean,
And I would read it like, well, I hope the house is clean.
right?
Kind of like
Or
attitude.
you would read it as in the house better
Better
be
be
clean,
clean, yeah.
right? And a lot of times in the beginning, that would
Yeah.
create friction because you would respond like, "I clean the house every day." Like, what do you mean? How that? But we had to learn
Yeah.
how to try to read it the way your spouse would say it.
Or just a simple call or a
Yeah,
voice message is fine
yeah.
too.
Or call them and say, "Hey, what do you mean by I hope the house is clean?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was just being sarcastic.
Yeah. And
So
boom,
boom,
problem solved.
problem solved. Nothing to worry about. Again, but it's all about communicating.
Yeah, and every couple is different. Like, I mean, everybody communicates a different way and they do things differently. This is just what's helped
Yeah.
us.
But not only that, I could say that comment sarcastically, and she can be having the worst day at her job. So because she's having the worst day at her job, she reads the comment based on her status of how she's feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
And that can hinder a lot of things. So, which is why we have to be careful how we read the text messages. Are we reading based on how we're feeling in that moment? Or are we reading it based on how our spouse would truly say it?
Yeah.
So, just food for thought.
So let's go into how we are now because I think this is basically like the entire testimony is like we've transitioned from a toxic relationship, you could say, into how we are now.
We have survived.
Yes. So we are in our 10th year. We're going into our 10th year of marriage. So a lot of things we've learned throughout the years, a lot of things have changed. And I think the most beautiful, which we just went to a marriage conference this weekend, and the most beautiful thing like that, well, that they asked was two things, two things that you like you would not want your marriage to never have again.
Yeah.
Like if you can picture the next 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And our two when we were talking about it was trust, right?
Yeah. Oh, the question they asked was,
How is it?
what is one thing,
Two things.
or sorry, what is two things that you w- hope that your marriage will have for the rest
For
of
the
your
yeah,
lifespan?
oh yeah. So ours was trust and
Joy.
joy, like laughing. We love to laugh with each other. We love to make jokes with each
Yeah.
other. Like laughing is a big part of our relationship.
That was yours, because
Mhm.
mine was unity and joy.
Okay. Yeah.
And think about it, right? What is two things that you want in your marriage
Or
to have, or
relationship.
your relationship to have from today until death do us apart? And for me, it was unity and joy,
Hmm.
because we do everything with our kids. As a matter of fact, people are always telling us, "Why don't you guys go out and have a date night?" My kids mean so much to me. Yes, I every now and then I get a guy's night out, and every now and then you'll go to your girl's night out. But the majority of the time, we love hanging out with our kids. Believe it
Yeah.
or not, we enjoy our kids.
Yeah, they're very good kids, and I know a lot of people that watch this, they can, say that as well. And they're very good. And everywhere we go, they'll find a corner, and they'll spend time, doing their own thing, and we really don't, we really don't struggle like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
much when we go out.
yeah, yeah.
Now Mila's 2, our baby,
She's in her
she's
terrible
getting
twos.
into that terrible twos, but
Me están
she's
saliendo
still
canas.
not like that bad.
No, she's not. She's not bad. She's just very. Why are we talking about her kids? Anyways,
Curious.
she's not bad. She's just very curious. She loves. She's at the stage where you tell her not to press the red button, and she's gonna press it. Um, but yes, for me it was unity and joy. For you it was trust and joy, and we started hearing the other people and
Hmm.
their answers and everything, and we were just like, man, that we never really put that into thought
Yeah.
until that day. But what is one thing you want for yourself, and what better than to have joy in the house for the rest of our lives,
Yeah.
and to have unity and to have trust,
Hmm.
and I just thought that was an amazing answer from you,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
But now
Hmm.
our marriage is completely different. We constantly get people telling us that they love the way we trust each other. They love the way we communicate with each other. They love the way we joke around with each other.
Yeah.
And they just love the love in the atmosphere when they're around us.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're not perfect. I mean, we have friends that have been amazing examples of what love is. And one couple that I can think off of the top of my head is my sister and my brother-in-law,
Yeah.
Omar Guillen, and my sister Giovanna Guillen. I'm calling y'all out. Um, my brother-in-law treats my sister like a queen,
Yeah.
and
He does.
I get impressed. He does everything.
I'm over here like, Miguel, do the same for me.
Yeah.
Get up.
So my brother-in-law does that for my sister, and in return, because my sister feels like she's a queen,
Yeah.
she returns the favor by having the house, cooking the foods that he loves, you
Hmm.
know, coming out with, oh, we're going on vacation here, you
And I
know.
mean, with that, like I've talked to her before about this. Like I've told her these things, and she's always like, it's because when we got together, we were already like mature. Like we already knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
We weren't playing games, and she's told me all this, and like I think that's what we can say. Like now, where we are is like we've gotten into that mature um aspect of our marriage
Yeah.
where we can say like, oh, those games like you play when when we were 16,
Yeah.
like we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we're in a much different season of our life, and trust is so important. Laughing with each other is so important. Talking to each other every day about everything. Like
Yeah.
I tell you, oh my god, I got to work and I
We've
tripped, or
literally become each other's bestest friends.
yes, we're best
And
friends.
that doesn't mean we don't have best friends outside of our relationship, because we do.
Hmm.
But, we've literally have became our, confident. Is that
Coffee confidant or something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, you get
You
it.
get it. You get it. And we are each other's best friend.
Yeah,
We love each other enough to do things for each other, and no complaints on my end, no complaints on her end.
yeah,
But it's all trust.
yeah,
I had to learn how to trust her enough to let her do the things she loves, and vice versa.
hmm,
Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't pay attention to the things that I request. And when I say request, I don't want to sound, uh, in Spanish, we would use the word machista,
hmm,
but she respects the decisions that I have towards certain people or certain groups, and vice versa. It doesn't mean we don't respect those decisions, but what it does mean is that we started becoming wise enough to staying away from those groups without the need of
yeah.
actually finding a way
Quiet.
out.
Yeah, we don't have to argue about it or anything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's good. I think that, I mean, if you didn't hear anything from this podcast, like just know, trust, communication, and laughter, joy. Like have fun with your person.
And before we finish, because that's pretty much
Yeah.
that's been our testimony in a nutshell. But before we finish, I wanna let you guys know there are many types of ways to show love, but the top two that have really impacted our life was number one, love is an action before it becomes a feeling.
Mhm.
And I say that because when you first meet the person, you don't love that person.
Mhm.
It is the action of what that person begins to do for you. that begin to grow a feeling of love. And
Mm.
after those actions comes the feeling of love. I say that because there are many times where we think that life is over because love is over or we don't feel it anymore. My advice to you there is to one of the things that we do is, or that we've done is, if you don't feel it, do the action love. Start again and do the action love and make those feelings come back again. Love goes a long way when you not only feel it, but you show it through your actions.
Yeah. And I mean, I encourage anybody that is starting out in a relationship, the Bible, I mean, talks a lot about love.
Yeah,
And I mean, just First Corinthians, it all explains what love
love
is,
is.
and God is the perfect example of what love truly is. And if we didn't have the love of God in us, it probably wouldn't be as great as we're making it sound.
Yeah,
And it's not all great. It's not great every single day. But if we work towards that and if we put God in the middle, in the center of our relationship,
yep,
like so many problems are resolved.
yes. Life is not perfect, but problems have been resolved just because God is in the middle of our
And
relationship.
we pray together. We talk about love. We talk about God together. We
Yeah.
worship together. And
We fast together.
and all of those little things, like, they add up to a good relationship, I think. And so I think that's how we'll end it, guys. We love you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. If you need any advice, we're not the best counselors out there, but we're here for you. So, encouragement, seek a counselor that can help you in love. Marriage counselors, there are plenty out there, or seek people like us who have been through the motions but are willing to help lend a helping hand. God bless you guys.